kidding? Just one shot?
They're not all zombies, Doug. How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back.
It's a dance song to get down with. About 6 feet under. Get there.
Ooh, I love this song.
And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
Hello, and welcome to episode 239 of the Rotten Views podcast. Thank you everyone for showing up to another new episode each and every single week. If you're a new listener, thank you for showing up this week. For this episode, you are in for a fun one. This is not a first time watch for me. I will admit, I did just watch this movie about 2-3 weeks ago for the very first time then. I'm kicking myself for not watching it sooner, because I actually really enjoyed this movie a lot. But before we do get into talking about the movie at hand, let's do a little bit of housekeeping, like we like to do each and every single week to start the podcast off.
Housekeeping?
I think you're sleeping.
Housekeeping?
Could you come back in an hour?
Housekeeping, you want towel?
More towels. Need sleepy.
Housekeeping, you want mint for pillow?
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God.
I'm gonna say right now, I've been working on this episode for like the last 45 minutes just to get everything up and running, because for some reason my recording program just did not want to work. Just didn't want to work at all, and it's been kind of choppy and a little bit laggy, so hopefully everything is recording well. I hope I don't have to like transfer over to my tablet to do my recording on, because the program's on there. I just have never done the recording on a tablet before, so I'm sure it worked the same way and everything would be where I can do everything easily enough. And I use the tablet actually to pull up the IMDb page and all that other fun stuff. Hopefully this all works good. I'm really hoping so. I'm just trying to get ahead. Well, not get ahead, stay ahead of podcast episode. This episode's going to be coming out in 2 weeks. 2-3 weeks actually. It's somewhere around the 3 week mark, depending. I can't remember how many episodes I have ahead of time, because I am a dum-dum. So if there's any slight audio issues or weird syncing issues at the beginning of the podcast, that's why. I'm hoping there's not, and if there is, hopefully I can go back, fix it, and everything will be fine. But back to the housekeeping section of things here. Like I say, each and every single week, if you guys are listening on Spotify, feel free to give the podcast a star rating. I'm not going to ask you for 5 stars. You can give it whatever star rating you want. If it's a 3-star, 2-star, 1-star, it doesn't matter to me. Just give it a rating, give it a little review. Hopefully it's like a higher star. I appreciate it if it is. I'm still looking for that voodoo kid on Amazon for all you 1-star people. I'm joking, there's actually none of you yet. Now that I've said that, I'll probably get a couple, and if I do, it's okay. I don't mind about it. If you're listening on iTunes or Apple, feel free to give it a little review over there as well. I appreciate the feedback, but the main thing you can do, no matter what podcast platform you're listening to this on, just hit that share button. That share button does help out a lot, and it means a lot to me. So if you could hit that share button, share the episodes, I appreciate it. Tag me in them too if you want, @Typhon pretty much on any social media site. So if you're going to share them on Facebook, if you're going to share them on Instagram as a story, if you're going to share them on Threads or X or Blue Sky or whatever the program might be, or social media app, feel free to tag me in them. I'd love to see which episodes you guys are listening to, what your thoughts are on the episodes, and what you guys enjoy about the podcast. So feel free to hit that share button. It means a lot, and it does help the podcast out a lot at the end of the day. And as always, make sure to follow me on all social media accounts @Typhon. All the links are down below. can pretty much find me on any social media account. I might not be super active on all of them, but I'm at least there and present from time to time. We're on Threads, we're on X, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook, Instagram. The main things we got going right now is the YouTube channel. Definitely go check out the YouTube channel. We got the weekly game video that drops each and every single Wednesday. I have old episodes of the podcast. We got some fun short videos up there as well. Do the occasional video game stream and the occasional live art stream. So definitely go check that out. If you want more streams, definitely go check out the Twitch channel where we've been streaming almost every single night for a couple hours a night. You know, be it GTA Online or Fortnite or Killing Floor 2. There's a whole bunch of games that we've been playing. So it's free content. So go check it out. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Share the channels. I appreciate it if you guys do. It really does mean a lot to me if you could share the content. It helps grow the channel, help grow the community and everything else along with it. And the more we can grow, the more content I can get out there. I'm going to try and get out a ton of content as it is because we got a lot of artwork going out as well. I've been doing some new thumbnails for any movies I watch just for fun. We got a new thumbnail series that's going to be for new style for like the YouTube videos and whatnot. Pretty pumped about that. We're going to be doing new thumbnails for each and every single episode of the podcast as well. Pretty cool. We're putting more work and effort into this stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoy the color scheme. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the content overall. I appreciate it if you guys did. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Thank you guys for stopping by. Hopefully you guys are still listening to me rant and raving and all that other fun stuff. And hopefully we can have a good episode today. I think we will. I'm looking forward to this one. It's going to be a fun one. So let's talk about the podcast at hand, the movie that we're going to be watching today. And the movie we are watching is a comedy movie for an hour and 38 minutes from 1991. It's The Super. This movie has a 5.7 out of 10 on IMDb. Apparently nobody else has rated it anywhere else. I don't know why there's no Letterboxd stat or Rotten Tomato stats. That's kind of actually weird. Just from looking at the general, Google post listing. Apparently 74% of people have enjoyed this movie though. The movie originally came out on August 4th, 1991. With a budget of $22 million. And it's by 20th Century Studios. Description as read on IMDb. Karma comes into play when a wealthy, wisecracking landlord is ordered by a court to live in the filthy building that he runs. The director for this one is Rod Daniel, who's also best known for being the director for 24 episodes of WKRP in Cincinnati from 1979 to 1981. He was the director for 1989's K9. He was the director for 1985's Teen Wolf. Love that movie. That's a great movie. He's also the director for 1993's Beethoven's 2. Also, looking at his IMDb listings, he was the director for the horrible Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House in 2002. I absolutely do not enjoy that movie at all. He's also, he was the director for a lot of TV episodes, but something that caught my eye while looking at his IMDb. In 1996, he was the director for American Pie, but it says the TV series. There was an American Pie TV show that I didn't know about. I'm assuming there's probably a reason why. I don't recall this ever being a topic at all. I know I watched the American Pie movies a lot growing up in high school, because, well, it's just a thing to watch. But a TV show? I don't recall that at all. The writer for this one is Sam Simon, who's best known for being the producer for 775 episodes from 1989 to 2025 of The Simpsons. The reason why I paused there at saying 2025, on his IMDb, says he passed away in 2015. That's a 10-year difference, but whatever. We'll go with it. It's fine. Everything's fine. He was also the producer from 1982 to 1983, 24 episodes of the TV show Taxi, as well as he was chief sidekick in 2000 Shanghai Noon. I haven't watched that movie in a hot minute, so I have no idea who that is. He was also the producer from 1988 to 1990, 45 episodes of The Tracy Ullman Show. And one last thing to note, apparently he did 158 episodes where he was the consulting producer from 1997 to 2004 for The Drew Carey Show. I'm not a big Drew Carey fan. I'll admit that 100%. Don't really care for him that much. So if you guys enjoy Drew Carey, good for you. Me? I could go well. We're at that point in time in the podcast where we're going to talk about a couple of the actors. We're not going to talk about Joe Pesci just yet. We're going to talk about Mandolin Smith Osborne, who's playing the character Naomi. She's best known for being Peggy in 1984's All of Me. She also played Pam in the movie Urban Cowboy from 1980, as well, a movie that I enjoy a lot. She was Elizabeth Farmer in 1988's Funny Farm with Chevy Chase. Also, she was Carolyn Floyd in 1984's 2010. The Year We Make Contact, which I'm assuming is a UFO movie. I've never heard of it before, but we'll go with it. But of course, we gotta talk about Joe Pesci, who's playing the main character, Louis. You pretty much know him from a lot of movies, but the ones we're gonna talk about is in 1980, he played a character named Joey in Raging Bull. In 1990, he played a character, Tommy DeVito, in Goodfellas, a movie that I enjoy so much. It's one of my top movies of all time, to be honest with you. Also, in 2019, he played Russell Buffalino in The Irishman, a movie I still haven't actually watched, just because the runtime kind of deters me from wanting to watch it because it's so goddamn long. I think it's like 3 hours long. In 1998, he plays a character named Leo Getz in Lethal Weapon 4. In 1997, he plays Tommy in 8 Heads in a Duffel Bag. And the last one we're going to talk about because I enjoy this movie a lot, even though it's not that great. In 1997, he plays Joe Waters in Gone Fishing. Danny Glover. Because, you know, how can you not like that pairing between the two of them? Very fun movie, even if it only has a 4.8 out of 10 on IMDb. Don't trust the rating. Yeah, it's a decent rating nonetheless. It's almost half, but, you know, go watch it. Gone Fishing. Fun movie. So that brings us to the end of the casting section. I could talk about more cast members, but I'm not going to. If you guys want to, if you guys want more cast member talk, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll talk about more cast members if that's something you guys want to listen to me talk about, because you know it could be fun. If it's content you want, let me know. I'll talk about it. I just figured talking about the like 2 to 3 main cast members would be enough for you guys, but let me know down in the comment. We're looking to expand and grow the podcast more, so let me know what you want to hear. So we're at that point where we like to talk about the tagline for the movie now. I know a couple weeks ago we had a couple movies that didn't have taglines at all. The tagline for this one is pretty interesting. It goes as it said: the judge sentenced slumlord Louis Christie to 6 months in his own building. He would have been better off in jail. It sums it up, though. To be honest with you, it really does sum it up. But if he was in jail, it would be a totally different movie. I mean, it might be fun, actually, to see him in jail and see what happens. But we got him living in the apartment slums, which is probably a better movie nonetheless. Alright, with that being said, we're going to get ready to talk about the podcast at hand. So if you guys don't want to be spoiled on a movie that came out in 1991, feel free to pause this podcast now, because like I do each and every single week, this podcast episode will be full of spoilers, because I'm going to be talking about the movie from start to finish and hitting all the points in between that interest me. Feel free to pause it now if you wish, or just sit back, relax, and listen to me talk about the movie. You can find this movie for free on Tubi, though. I watch a lot of things on Tubi because I think it's a great app. So feel free to pause it now and go watch it on Tubi, or just sit back, relax, listen to me talk about the movie, and maybe I'll make it you really want to go watch it on Tubi later tonight, depending on what time you're listening to this podcast at. So with that being said, if you're listening at home, feel free to get some snacks, get comfy, get relaxed, you know, sit back, you know, just enjoy your evening or your day, whatever it might be. If you're at work, hopefully this helps you get through the day. And if you're listening in the car, like I know a lot of you guys do, from, you know, work or wherever, just keep your eyes on the road, alright? Just get to where you're going in one piece, safe and sound. And we're going to get started on the podcast right now.
Presents Saturday Night at the Movies, the television series which each week brings you the finest in recent motion pictures. Tonight,
In Goodfellas, he was a vicious thug. In Home Alone, he was a ruthless thief. In Lethal Weapon 2, he was a slimy embezzler. That was just a warm-up.
In, out. See, that's how the door broke. You're supposed to go in and stay in. You want your electricity fixed? Move.
He provides affordable housing for the underprivileged.
Joe Pesci, he doesn't want your love.
Get out of my way.
Just the rent.
Give me the rent. Give me the rent. Just give me the rent. In my hand, Friday cash.
I'm Naomi Bensinger.
You like this car, Naomi? This is my car.
I'm counsel for the Housing Authority.
Get off the car. Off the car.
You know how many convictions they get? Nada. Zero.
Order! I find Louis Kripsky, Jr. guilty of the charges brought before this court today. I'm sentencing you to house arrest in one of the apartments of your own building, serving as the building superintendent.
The Super.
Looks like your automobile lost a little weight.
Now he's getting a taste of his own tenement.
I want to see something more than the Band-Aids you are currently applying to this open sore.
I know how to play basketball, okay? How come they call you Milkman?
Because I killed the milkman.
Ah. I ain't scared in this neighborhood, because I walk it like I talking, kid.
Academy Award winner Joe Pesci is the Super.
Once you were a baby, and your mother loved you.
My mother still loves me.
Well, she's wrong.
I resent that.
Our movie starting out with that classic 20th Century Fox logo and the sounds. Everything's great about it. You know, it's up there with Orion. It's not as great as the Orion intro, but it's good nonetheless. You just know, you know, it brings back some good childhood memories. Then we have the movie starting out with this old black and white scene, some old time music playing. You know, it's a slow motion style shot where we're setting up the movie, but we're setting it up for Big Lou and Lil Louie going to do, you know, get some rent money, let's say. And we got the intro credits playing, you know, the music's just, you know, playing in the background, setting up the mood. We see the Super pop up on the screen. Not an amazing font by any means, but it doesn't need to be, because the whole feature itself is just really well done. Then we have Joe Pesci, Louis' character, saying, you know, when I was a kid, my father used to make a big breakfast, you know, pancake and everything. You know, we used to have a great, you know, weekend. You know, we never knew what was going to happen next. It was always an adventure. We knew it was going to be a fun time, though. And then we just see Big Lou yelling and chasing down one of his tenants because he watches them coming out of the apartment, and of course they owe him money. And then we see Big Lou take his tenant down to the ground, and he's like, where's all the money? He's like, I just need another week. and I'll get you all your money. And then Big Lou looks at Little Louie. He's like, you think we should give him another week? He's like, yeah, sure. And then Big Louie's like, are you really sure we should give this scum another week? Because, you know, if we give him another week, that means less money for you for snacks and stuff. No candy. You want to steal candy out my kid's mouth there, some guy? You better have my rent money. And then as Big Louie and Little Louie, or Big Lou and Little Louie, are walking back to the car, Little Louie is like, hey, Dad, you skinned me out $1. He's like, you know, January's a tough month. And, you know, give me some slack here, kid. And he's like, yeah, so it's December. Give me my buck you owe me, Dad. And then Big Louie's like, oh, I'm so proud of you, son. And then we cut to a modern day where we see Louie getting his first apartment building complex, which is slumlord, you know, section. And Big Lou's like, look, you know, you got your first apartment to take over and, you know, screw over all the hardworking people of all their money because it's a slumlord place. And then we see Louis driving his red Corvette through the slumlord area, and he's parking it, and then he's looking up at the apartment building that he owns. He's like, all right, asshole, here comes Chris. You better be ready to give me all my money. We got this like upbeat hip hop beat playing in the background as the intro credits are still playing, and we see Louis making his way up countless sets of stairs, higher and higher to the top of the building. And then he's looking at this apartment building where people are complaining about the door, and he's like, open up the door. See, it looks fine. It squeaks a little bit, but it's no big deal. It just squeaks a little bit. And then the tenant's like, it's no bueno. It's not working. It's not working at all. And Louis like, it worked before you broke it, so why did you break it? It's your fault you broke it, so it's not my fault. It was fine when you moved in. Then Louis talking to another tenant. He's like, oh, you want your electricity fixed? Why don't you just fucking move into a hotel then? Just give me my fucking rent money and we'll be done with this bullshit. And then he's in another apartment, and the lady's like, do you know what kind of droppings those are underneath my sink? He's like, I don't know, moose droppings. And she's like, those are rat droppings, actually. Your place is a mess. You should really clean it up. And then the tenant's like, so what are you going to do about the rats? He's like, nothing. They pay the rent, they can stay. I don't care about the rats. Why should you care about the rats? And then Louis runs into Marlon, one of the other main characters in this movie. I don't know why I didn't talk about him, but it's fine. And he's like, hey, so you're late on the rent again. Let me guess, your mom's dying again. How many times has she almost died lately? And Marlon's like, 6. And then Marlon goes on about how proud he is that he doesn't live on the street, doesn't live in a cardboard box, how proud he is that he's got, you know, an apartment that is a piece of shit that he can barely afford, but nonetheless he's still trying to make best of it. And Louis like, just have my money in cash by Friday. I don't care about your sob story. That's when he then gets back out to his car, and he's like, who are you? What are you doing up against my car? And it's Naomi. And he's like, so you like my car, huh? You know, I own that apartment building over there. It's pretty fancy. I'm pretty rich. We find out that Naomi is working with like the tenant board, and she's like, I got all these filings for you, these charges, because, you know, these are all the issues that are in that building that you keep refusing to fix. And he's like, hey, I'm not Krisky. I didn't give you my name. And she's like, you didn't have to. The people yelling at you from the apartment building, I'm trusting them. And he's like, you gonna listen to everyone? Nah, they all think we all look the same. He's like, how about we go to dinner, though, and talk about it? And she just walks away. And then we see Louis sitting down with his dad and his mom, and I'm assuming the sister. And he's like, I can't believe we gotta go to court. Can't believe I'm going to court over this building. Yeah, I know you're telling me not to worry about it, Dad, but like, what's gonna happen if I gotta fix all this stuff? And he's like, don't worry about it. I've never fixed anything in my life. I'm a slumlord. We just make it work. And Big Lou's like, you know what? Those things about what I always say about lawyers. You know what I always say about lawyers? They're just there to bust your nuts. They don't worry about anything at all. They don't care if the apartment buildings look crappy. They're just trying to get their money out of you. Big Lou's like, Heather, you're pretty stupid. How far did you go in school? And she's like, what do you mean? Well, in high school, I wouldn't let anyone really touch me. But when I got to college, community college, that is, I went pretty wild and crazy. He just laughs at her and be like, you're stupid. And then we just cut to the courtroom where the judge is saying that Louis is guilty of all the charges for the building. And everyone's cheering it on, being like, yeah, he's finally got to pay for his stuff. He's going to have to go to jail. He's going to have to serve all this time. The judge is like, so I'm going to sentence you to usually 1 year in jail. But however, I am not going to do that because I don't think jail is going to make you fix this building at all. So I'm going to put you on house arrest. But guess what? You have to live in the worst apartment in that whole building. Naomi, as the council member of housing, wants a bigger charge because she thinks it's not going to matter to him. But we find out that the judge is like, no, I think this is going to work out because he's going to live in the worst apartment in that building. He's not going to be able to fix anything in that apartment. But by the end of the year of house arrest, he needs to have everything in the building fixed so that everyone has proper living space that they require. Oh, he needs to have the building up to code in actually 120 days. And Louis just staring at the judge being like, oh, that's going to cost me a lot of money, huh? And then we cut back to Louis, who's on the treadmill at home, working out, doing his stamina as he's on the phone talking to somebody. And then his dad's like, what are you doing? You got to be living over in that slumlord place. He's like, if you don't, you're going to be going to jail. And that's when Louis slips on the treadmill and goes flying into the wall behind him. And then Big Lou's like, see this paperwork? What is it? He's like, it's your will, and I get all your buildings. I know. He's like, but what happens if I change my mind? Well, I'm not going to get nothing, of course. You know what's going to make me change my mind? If you fix one damn thing in any of those damn apartments, you're not getting any of the apartments that I own in the will. He's like, Dad, don't worry about it. I'm going to go down there. I'm going to have those jerks eating out of my hand. I ain't going to fix a damn thing. Everything's going to be fine. And when you croak, I'm still going to get all the buildings. Everything's going to work out, Dad. Don't worry about it. It's now nighttime. He's showing up to the apartment building. He's like, this isn't going to be so bad. Going to live here for a little bit. No big deal. He's getting ready to take his stuff to the front door. And then out of nowhere, we just see it start to downpour. And he's like, God damn it. How am I going to do this? Of course, he sets an alarm on his car, which is good because, it's a little bit of a sketchy neighborhood. And it's a red Corvette. God knows what might happen to it. And then we see him trying to carry a box and the 3 suitcases up the stairs to his new home as we hear people in the apartment building just yelling and fighting with each other because that's what, happens in the ghetto area. He opens up the door and we just see water leaking through. There's water all over the place. There's mold all over the place. He's like, at least there's a roof over my head. Then he slams the apartment door and then part of the ceiling crumbles down on him. And then a tenant is like, keep it down, Krisky. Trying to, have a nice peaceful time over here. And he's looking around at this beat up apartment. The bathtub's full of water. And he's like, oh wow, it's a wall to wall motif of shit all over the place. He's like, I see where they get the idea for the Roche Motel. This is clearly the inspiration for it. He goes to try the tap in the kitchen sink, and then nothing happens, so he goes to walk away, and then the water just starts shooting out, and the sink is full of water, and then it keeps bubbling and boiling. He's like, great, a sink that freaking farts. It's just what I want. There's already a mattress in the apartment, so he kicks it, but it's full of water, and you can just hear how squishy it is. So then he goes on this recliner chair that's already in there, and it's all beat up. It's from a previous tenant at some point in time, and he's trying to stretch it out, recline it, so it's nice and comfy, and then one of the springs in the headrest just explodes through the chair right beside his face. He's like, this is gonna be a good night. And then next thing you know, he's in a sleeping bag, sleeping on the floor. It's now the morning, and he's like waking up, and he's like, crap, I am here actually. And then he sees a shadow, he gets freaked out, and he's like, what are you doing here? And then we just cut over, and it's just a little kid who sneaked in through the balcony for the fire exit. He's like, kid, it's Saturday, what are you doing here? Why aren't you out playing basketball or breakdancing or something? Get out of here, I don't want you in my apartment. And then the kids leave, and he's like, that's a cool cool hip stereo. And he goes to touch it, and then he's like, hey, don't touch it. It's old. It's an old thing. It probably doesn't even work. The kid's like, yeah, I probably know it doesn't work. And he's like, were you in my apartment while I was sleeping? Were you touching my stuff? Were you playing with my stuff? Here, don't leave now. Let me plug the stereo in to make sure it works, and you aren't trying to screw me over. So he plugs in the stereo. It works for 2 seconds, and then everything just starts to spark, and the whole outlet like catches on fire. And the kid's like, nothing works in here because you don't fix anything in here. And I wasn't spying on anything. I was just curious about stuff. And as the kid's leaving the apartment, Louis like, I want to tell you one thing right now, kid. I'm not here to make any friends. And the kid's like, that's not going to be a problem at all. And we see some people laughing on the front steps of the building. And Louis like, what's so funny? And they point over across the road, and that's when he looks at his car, and there's pretty much nothing left of it. There's no doors, there's no windshield, there's no front end at all, there's no engine, there's no back end, there's no tires, nothing at all. But he presses the key fob, and somehow the car alarm still goes off, even though there's no engine, there's no battery, and there's no doors. And, it's a comedy, so it all works out. So then Louis goes over to the people sitting on the steps. He's like, so you guys didn't hear anything? Didn't see anything? Alarm didn't go off by any chance? And they're like, nope, didn't hear anything at all. And he walks away, and they just start laughing their ass off at him. So then Louis walks into this grocery store that has like people playing pool in the back of it. He goes over to the thing. He's like, hey, where's the storekeeper? Guys, am I visible to you guys here? Where's the storekeeper? Hello? So Pesci's talking to the store clerk. He's like, so I got my girl coming over. What kind of wine you guys carry around here? So the guy just puts an alcohol bottle down. He's like, got the screw top wine. So then he grabs some bread and throws the bread down the counter. And Louis making fun of the bread. He's like, this bread is aged and it's rock solid. What the hell's going on for bread, dude? So then we find out they only carry one flavor or one kind of peanut butter. And Pesci's getting upset. He's like, what? You gotta tell me. Why do you have like 28 different flavors of pork rinds, but you only have one type of peanut butter? What's the point of that? And the clerk leans down. He's like, because we don't have any fussy white people around here. That's why we only carry one kind of peanut butter. He's like, all right, I got it. I understand. And then Louis meets that kid outside the grocery store again, and the kids make fun. He's like, you're buying stale old bread that's a year old, and you also got peanut butter that's 3 years old. And as they're walking down the street, they hear a backfire, and it sounds like a gun. And Pesci jumps behind some garbage behind a building, and the kid's like, what's the matter with you? That's just a backfiring of a vehicle. It's not a gunshot. And Louis is like, I only jumped back there because I was worried about you. It could have been a gunshot. I was worried you were going to get hit, kid. Why didn't you jump with me? That's when they're walking down the street. Some guy sitting on a couch is like, hey, Tito, how's it going? That's when we find out that the little kid's name is Tito for the first time. That's when we find Tito works on tips. So Louis is like, hey, Tito, take this bag, run it up to the house, drop it off. And I just gave $5. And you better be happy that I just gave you $5. $5 is a lot, kid. You better be happy about it. So then they start swearing at each other. Then we see Louis walking a little bit farther, and he walks by Marlon, who's doing this like card game on the side of the streets to make some extra money because he kind of screws people over. And Louis walks by him, and then he looks around the corner and be like, that guy still owes me rent money. I wonder what he's doing. So then Louis goes right over to Marlon. He's like, hey, give me the rent money. I don't care what game you're playing, just give me the rent money that you owe me. We find out this game that they're playing, there's a king, there's a bee, and there's one other card. You find the king, you get the singer. You find the bee, you get the honey, you win the money. And of course, it starts out at $20 bet, and then as soon as Louis gets ready to the bet, he's like, no, we're going to do 50. And then the bet starts going up higher and higher because this guy who just lost his $20, he saw that Marlon was looking the opposite way. So he reaches over and peels back the B card a little bit, so rips it so he knows which card it is. But then Louis starts out betting the guy, and the guy gets pissed off and walks away. Also, I had like a brain lapse at the beginning. Heather is not the sister. I just realized Heather is his fiance or his girlfriend or whatever, and she's a complete ditz because at this point in time, he's walking back to the apartment, and we see Heather like slunch back in a taxi cab, all shocked and nervous about where she's going. She gets dropped off at the building, and all these guys are whistling at her and all, wooing over her. So then Louis has to run to go catch her to, take her upstairs. And as they're going up the stairs, and Heather's like, what's that smell? He's like, it's piss. He's like, you let people piss in here? He's like, yeah, the homeless people come in and piss in here. No, I don't let them come in here and piss. They just come in here and piss anyways. There's no lock on the damn door. They finally make it to his apartment, and as soon as she walks in, she's like, oh my god. He's like, I cleaned it up a little bit. I knew you were coming, but I didn't want to make it too nice and fancy or anything, And she's just looking around all disgusted and just ready to go home at any point in time. He starts getting all touchy and feely with her, and she's not having any of it. And he's like, come on now, this is my jail right now. This is my conjugal little visit. I need a little bit of, loving to help me get through the time that I got to spend here. Do you not understand that? And they're sitting on the bed together, and she's like, this place is really hard to get in the mood. All you hear is people yelling outside. You hear car horns, you hear sirens going the whole time. So then she asks for some music to be put on, and as soon as Louis gets up to go turn on the radio and puts the music back on, even though he forgot that he blew it up, essentially, she beelines for the door and starts running down the stairs. And now Louis got to chase after her. And of course, the taxi cab just comes and picks her up like no problem, because I guess he's just been, sitting there waiting the whole time. Then, of course, everyone in the project starts laughing and making fun of Louis because they thought he was like the 10-second pump and jump, and that, they had their fun time, and she's already taken off because she's already done with it. So Louis starts going on, being like, soon enough, I'll be in my own apartment downtown in the city, laying in my jacuzzi, just laughing and thinking about all you poor suckers that are stuck living here. And then the preacher guy's like, anger is the foothold of the devil. And Louis just looks at him and is like, go fuck yourself. Then Louis goes banging on one of his neighbors. I think it's Eleanor. He's like, come on, Eleanor, let me in, please. My toilet's all clogged up and I really gotta go to the washroom. Can you please let me in? And she's like, no. He's like, how can you say no? He's like, it's easy. You say no all the time. You should be used to it. He's like, well, what do you expect me to do? You expect me to just take a shit out here in the hallway? And then she just shuts the door in front of his face. Then we see Louis going outside and people are laughing on the steps again because his car alarm's going off yet again. He walks over to the car and we see a ticket on what's left of the frame of the car. And he just rips it up being like, I'm tired of this crap. So then Naomi shows up and he's like, hey, look, see this van? I'm currently working on getting the whole apartment complex rewired up and everything working just like it's supposed to. And then the electrician comes out and he's like, what you're asking is impossible. I am unable to rewire just your apartment. There's too much issues around here. And Louis is like, I didn't say just rewire my apartment. I said start with my apartment and then work around it and get all the other apartments. You silly guy, what are you doing here? And then Naomi's like, oh, seriously, huh? Just working on your own apartment, eh? And Naomi's going back to her car to get in to leave. And Louis is like, anyone ever tell you how attractive you are? And she's like, I'm 34 years old. Of course people have told me how attractive I am. How about you just leave me alone, get your instruction books, get your agenda, get all your work set up for the apartment complex, and then I'll deal with talking to you. Until then, I don't want to deal with you. And if you don't get working on the apartment complex, you're going to find yourself in prison. And then as Naomi gets in her car and goes to drive away, he's like, you have a horrible temper, but I still want to take you to lunch. All right, you know what? How about we just skip lunch and we'll just go straight to humping? How about that? And she drives away. He's like, just give me some time. I'll get her. Don't worry about it. Then we see Louis in his apartment with his little portable TV with the antenna on it. He's trying to get the picture of the game because he apparently has money on the game and nothing's coming in. So he's like, oh, what if I get a little bit higher? Maybe that'll work. So he climbs onto the headrest of the recliner chair for some reason, and then he loses his footing and falls face first on the floor. And Marlon's like, what are you doing? And Louis is like, what does it look like? I'm watching TV as it's sparking all over the place. Then Louis is like, so Marlon, what are you doing here? What are you bugging me in my apartment for? He's like, nothing. I feel good. I'm going to go down and shoot some hoops. I just wanted to know if you wanted to come play some basketball with me. That's all. So then Louis is like, Marlon, why do you want to play basketball with me of all people? Marlon's just like, if you want to play, I'll be downstairs waiting for you. If not, it's cool. So then we see Marlon out on the streets, bouncing the ball around. And then we see Louis in his full basketball attire, just standing on the top of the stairs, looking all cool with his pump-up kicks. Louis is like, all right, Marlon, just tell me if I look stupid, all right? Just let me know if I look stupid. He's like, no, you don't look stupid at all. You're just saying you got clothing that nobody else can afford around here, and come stick me with the sharp object of your choosing whenever you feel like it, and then take my velcroed wallet off my ankle. And Louis is like, oh, crap, you can actually tell it's there? Marlon's like, no, it doesn't show, but I can tell that's what you guys wear. And Louis is like, yeah, like I can trust you to keep me safe if I get attacked. Marlon's like, I'll call 911 once they're done with you, of course. Then there's this fun shot at the basketball court where Marlon goes to introduce Louis to his buddy, the milkman, who's sitting on a basketball. And Louis is like, nice to meet you. Why do they call you the milkman? And then the guy stands up and they just do this nice camera shot where we're looking from Louis' point of view, and the milkman seems like he's a giant, like he's Shaq tall. He's not really that tall, but he is pretty tall nonetheless. But it's just that, an angle shot to make it look bigger to the perspective eye. And the milkman's like, call me the milkman because I kill the milkman every time. He's like, all right, good to know. And they're getting ready to play some 3-on-3. And Marlon's like, hey, if you feel like you're in trouble at all, just let me or the milkman know, and we'll throw up a block for you and everything be good. And he's like, I'm not going to embarrass you guys. Don't worry about it. I know what I'm doing. So then we just see them actually playing 3-on-3 basketball with each other. And we actually see that Louis knows how to get the ball into the net, surprisingly enough, seeing he's very short. And the game ends with somehow Louis doing a slam dunk in front of everyone and doing his typical Pesci laugh in the camera. So because they won the first game, the other guys are like, all right, we're done. And they're like, come on, let's play another game. And the opposing team are like, no, we're going to play another game. We're going to play for some money this time around. And of course, Marlon doesn't want to because he's like, we came here to play for fun. We're not here to play for money. And besides, I gave you all my rent money, so I don't have any money on me at all. But then Louis is like, I got the rent money on me, so you can play for $200, seeing that's what you just offered the guys, even though, you didn't, discuss it with me first. But, now we're playing for $200. But now the guys start playing a little bit rougher to con the money out of them. At one point, we had one of the guys getting ready to dunk on top of Louis. And we just hear the sound of like a train horn coming at him. And we just see Louis getting all scared. And then next thing we know, we see Marlon helping him up off the ground because he just got murdered by this guy on their team. And then as Louis is getting up and he's walking over, he's all hunched over. Marlon's like, put a little bit of Vicks on it, help it out. And Louis like to their team, he's like, you guys always play basketball and football at the same time, or is this just something you want to do because I'm here? And then we see Big Lou and his wife showing up to check on Louis, and they park behind Louis' Corvette, and the dad's like, what the hell, what color was Louis' car? And they see that the car is completely scrapped and there's nothing left to it. And then the dad's going up to the apartment. He sees that like the hallway lights on to the main doorway, so he turns it off. He's like, we can't have this on. And then we see Louis coming out with his basketball gear on still. And Big Lou's like, I want to talk to you, son. Didn't I tell you not to fix anything? You tell me you didn't fix the lights on the apartment. He's like, I had to fix them. I had to fix the electrical and I had to fix the lights. And he's like, why did you have to fix it? He's like, well, I want to play my stereo, to be honest with you. And Big Lou's like, well, now everyone can play their stereos because you were selfish and want to play your own stereo. And the mom's so excited. She's like, I got you some new throw pillows, hopefully liven up the apartment a little bit. And Big Lou's like, you know what, let's give them to the Soul Brothers. He'll probably just give them to him anyways because he's just giving everyone free stuff. And then his parents go to get back in the car and leave. And Louis goes over to be like, so when you get me out of here, Dad? He's like, as soon as me and your mother get back from the Bahamas. He's like, the Bahamas? Why are you going to the Bahamas? Later that night, and everyone on the ground floor is having a party inside one of the apartments. Everyone's just dancing, having a fun time. And then we just pan up the floors of the apartment. We get to where Louis is staying. He's just got one of those little toys with the paddle with the ball and the rope. And he's just playing with that. And then the ball breaks, and the rope breaks, and the ball goes flying. So he just chucks it. Now he's just sitting on his bed looking all depressed. Then he opens up a package of tennis balls. And he's going to, pass it at the wall so he can, catch it. And he throws it at the wall. And this tennis ball literally sinks into the wall because the walls are so water infested and soggy and soft that the wall pretty much eats the tennis ball. So he's tired of hearing this music and he starts wandering downstairs and wanders in front of the apartment. The door's wide open and he looks in, nobody notices him. So then he starts walking around the door coughing, hoping that somebody notices him. And then he's like standing in the door frame just, trying to bust a couple dance moves, seeing if anyone notices him because he hasn't been invited to the dance party. So he doesn't want to just step in even though he owns the building. So then he goes to walk away and then he comes back. He's like, you know what? I'm going to pound on this door. So he starts pounding on the front door. He's like, you guys want to keep it down? Maybe some people are trying to sleep around here. You never know. And then everyone gets quiet for a second, and then they just go back to dancing and blasting the music. Of course, Louis is back in his apartment. He calls up Heather. Heather answers his phone, wondering who it is. And she's like, I can't come over. My feet are sore from dancing so much. So then Louis gets pissed off, throws the phone through the window, gets pissed off because now he broke the window. So then we have a tenant yelling at him. And he's like, you shut up, meathead. I'm going to raise her rent. The guy's like, good. That's 2 bad checks I got right out each time then. So then Louis is getting all pissed off, stomping on the floor, like jumping up and down. He literally goes for the floor, lands on a table below him, and then that table breaks. And of course, it's a Spanish family inside there, and they're just speaking Spanish. He's like, does anyone speak English? And then the dad's like pointing up at the ceiling and be like, it worked before you broke it. And now it's the next day and we see a flooring truck outside and Louis getting pissed off because it cost him $1,700 to fix the floor. And he's like, what is it, mahogany? He's like, no, sir, we just patched it up with just some old stuff that just like you asked. That's all we did. Nothing special to it. Then we hear some banging downstairs and it's Gilliam, the preacher guy, who's boarding up a hole in the floor. He's like, this is a block the rats. We know they're coming through here. This isn't going to hold them off. They're going to chew through it soon, but they will be here. And Louis like, I haven't seen a single rat since moving in. And Gilliam's like, well, maybe they're just being professional and courteous and just avoiding your floor. And then we see Louis sleeping on that mattress in his sleeping bag, and the music starts to change a bit, and then we pan in on his face, and then we pan into the close-up face of a rat that's making lion sounds, and we just have Louis screaming. And then next thing we know, we see Dr. Death exterminator van outside the building. Then we see Naomi showing up, and she's like, wow, I'm very proud of you, Louis. You're actually doing some stuff to help out the building. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna get all these stupid rats exterminated, don't you worry. Now I'm not sure it's the next day, and everyone's banging on Louis' door because apparently the boiler has broken into the building and everyone's freezing. And Louis opens up the door. He's like, yeah, I know it's abnormally cold in the building, but I'm sure the boiler's just taking a little while to warm up. It'll be fine. And Louis is like, if I can't handle the cold winters right now, you guys can suck it up and do it too. And the guy's like, well, what are we supposed to do to keep warm? He's like, burn one of your kids for all I care. I don't care. And then we see Louis in his sleeping bag just shuffling back to his bed because he's not getting out of the sleeping bag. He's staying in it. And even though he's got a little portable heater inside his apartment as well. Then as we see Louis warming up at his little portable heater, he looks out the window and we see Tito looking in the window. He's all cold and depressed. And then Louis having a little bit of a, second thoughts about what's going on. And then Louis waking up to some arguing, and it's Tito with his grandma. And I guess the dad is finally showing up, Eddie, and he's trying to drop off this bike to Tito, but the grandma doesn't want anything to do with Eddie or that bike because she knows that the bike is stolen and she doesn't want anything bad to happen to Tito for having a stolen bike. So then Tito runs past Louis going upstairs, and Louis actually follows him up to the roof up top because he's just sitting up there being, depressed, being a young kid. He doesn't see his dad much, and the grandma's fighting, and Louis is like, so what's the matter? He's like, well, I'm pissed off. He's like, what, you're pissed off about the bike? So then Louis is trying to explain to Tito that the grandmother did the right thing by not letting him keep the bike because, he doesn't trust his father, and the bike's probably stolen, and he probably didn't get the money the proper way to get the bike. So then Tito's like, you're a bad man as well. He's like, no, I'm not a bad man. It might look like I'm a bad man because you're a kid and stuff. He's like, well, you're a slumlord. He's like, I'm not a slumlord, okay? I've done some bad choices and bad things, but, And as Tito's leaving, he's like, if you fix this place up, you might make some people happy. You might even make yourself happy, but you won't make your daddy happy, and you're too chicken to take the chance to make other people happy and yourself happy over the fear of losing what your dad's going to give you when he passes. It's now the next day, and we see Louis outside with all the tenants, and he's giving everyone like a brand new heater to help them keep warm over the winter nights. And then Naomi shows up, and she's like, what's going on here? Are you selling these to the tenants? And Louis is like, no, I'm not selling them to the tenants. I'm giving them to the tenant. Naomi's like, oh, the heaters are a good start. But if you didn't run the building into the ground, you wouldn't have to be doing this in the first place. He's like, it's a start, all right? I'm not trying to be a total jerk here. I'm trying to help out the people in the building and trying to be a nice guy. And then, of course, we see the red Cadillac showing up, and it's Big Lou getting out of the Cadillac, and he's all pissed off. He runs right over to where the heaters are, and he starts throwing them down on the ground and be like, what are you doing? You can't be just giving these things away. What are you doing? That's when Big Lou's like, it's only broken if there's a qualified technician that comes in and says it's broken. I'll buy a qualified technician and have him come over and tell you that it's broken. And Louis is like, we're freezing inside. He's like, what are you talking about, we? You gotta man up a bit. And then Big Lou's like, let me tell you something, son. If you fix this place up on Monday, by Friday, it's going to be a dump yet again. These people don't care about the position or the quality of the building. So no matter what work you put into it, it's still going to be a slum spot, no matter what. So then Big Lou tries to steal the heater from Tito, and Tito calls him a fat fuck and just walks away with the heater. And Louis like, what? I'm going to have a new boiler put in too. I'm going to have new heaters put in and everything. I'm going to pay for it myself. If you can't have a guy come down and do it, I'll find a guy to do it. Can you just let me handle this myself? And then Big Lou gets all pissed off. He's like, don't call me Pop. You're not my son. And just walks away and get back into his Cadillac. He's like, you're breaking my heart here, son. And as the Cadillac drives away, Louis is looking at everyone and be like, come on, guys, you gotta carry your heaters. I can't carry these all here. I'm only one guy. And Naomi comes back over. She's like, that must have been really hard for you to do. And Louis is like, you want to come up to my apartment? Help keep me warm. Nothing too weird. Just man on top. And she's like, you don't need me at all. You're hot enough for the both of us. And just walks away. And he's like, come on. Then we see Louis in his apartment. He's doing a crossword as everyone's having a party downstairs. And he wants to go to the party, but he can't. So then he hears a knocking on the door, so he pretends he's doing his crossword again. Marlon's like, hey, so if you didn't hear, there's a party going on downstairs. And he's like, yeah, I kind of heard. I got kind of some other stuff to do. I can't really be, dancing around, having fun, all that kind of stuff. So Marlon looks all confused and kind of disappointed by it. So then he just leaves the apartment. And then, of course, Louis gets up and goes to the front door, and of course Marlon's still there waiting for him and takes him down to the party so they can all, dance and have fun together. So then while Louis is in the party, he grabs the phone to call Naomi, and Naomi's like, you're not supposed to be leaving the apartment building to go party, right? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm here. I'm in the apartment building. I'm downstairs just having a party with all my neighbors. He's trying to convince her to come over to see him and see all the progress that's happened, but she's like, I can't, I was in court all day, didn't even make it to the office, I'm kind of tired. And he's like, alright, that's fine, I'll call you another time then, don't worry about it. Now it's late that night, and we have Louis sleeping on his bed in a sleeping bag, waking up to the banging sound on his door, and it's Big Louis. He's like, hey, so I got some good news for you. It's randomly in the middle of the night, no big deal, but you're out on bond. Come on, let's go, let's get out of here. Let's get out of this building. So Louis goes to wash up in the washroom, and we just hear the pipes breaking, smashing him in the face with water as he's, spitting it up. And we see Big Lou's already left the building and gone outside. And we have Louis packing up his bags and getting ready to leave. And he's outside on the sidewalk. And one of the tenants like, where are you going at this time of night? He's like, I'm out here. I'm done living here. I'm out on bond now. I don't have to live here anymore. That tenant is Leotha, and for whatever reason, he stops and puts his bags down in the middle of the road, and he yells back to her, and she pokes her head out the window, and he starts doing these weird-ass dances, and they both laugh together. They have, like, a nice little bonding moment. Of course, before Louis could say his final goodbyes, Big Lou's like, come on, Louis, we gotta get out of here. Come on, put yourself in the car. We gotta go. And Louis is like, what's the matter? Are we in a race here or something, Pops? So while sitting in the car, Louis is like, so who'd you bribe? And Big Lou's like, I didn't bribe anyone. I went to go talk to Naomi and told her, if you mess with Big Lou, you're gonna have some trouble. And he's like, yeah, I went to her office and talked to her. And that's when they get ready to drive away, and then Louis stops the car. He's like, you talked to her in her office, huh? What are you lying about there, Pops? Because she was in court the whole time. She was never in her office. So then Louis gets out of the car and storms back into the apartment complex, and Big Lou follows after him. He's like, come on, Louis, let's go. We'll just leave. We'll talk about it later. We don't need to be in the apartment building at all. Let's just get out of here. That's when the music starts to change, and we see Louis going all the way up to the roof of the building, and we see a guy up on the roof of the building with a gas can, and Louis is like, what the hell do you think you're doing over there, hey bud? You ain't gonna burn down my building. There's not gonna be any arsonists happening around here. There's not gonna be any damage. This is my building, and I'm taking control of it, and you're not hurting the people that live in my building. And that's when everyone else starts appearing on the roof, being like, yeah, you ain't going to cause any damage around here because you're going to have to deal with all of us. So then we have Louis staring down his dad, Big Lou. And Big Lou's like, you don't understand. I was scared that I was going to lose you to these people. And Louis is like, you gave me this building. This building's mine. I'm going to run this building how I think it should be run. And there's nothing wrong with the people living in this building. So then we have Big Lou leaving. He's getting back to his car. And Louis chases after him. He's like, Pop, you can't be doing that. There's kids that live in this building. Fires just go crazy. You don't know what's going to happen. Damages could have happened. People could have been hurt. I can't. I'm sorry I embarrass you in front of everyone, but I can't have my dad being that type of person. And Louis goes to walk away from his dad, and his dad calls him back over. They have a little bonding moment. They smile, they hug, and you can finally tell his dad's proud of him for standing up to be his own style man, even if it's not the type of person he wanted him to be. And then as the dad drives away, we have Ruben standing in the doorway, and he's telling Louis, it feels good, doesn't it? And Louis is like, what? Being your own man, living your own life, huh? And now we see it's been a little bit of time. We see the outside of the building. Everything looks fresh. Everything's painted. Everything looks nice and clean. And it's a completely new building altogether. See the whole crowd of people outside the building looking on. And we see Tito on a bike. And Tito's like, hey, don't worry. I'm not going to tell anybody that you bought me the bike. Don't worry. They're not going to know you're that nice of a guy. Louis getting ready to go. And everyone's, sad to see him going. And he's like, if you have any issues, you're going to have to, take it out with your new super. And the new super is Marlon. And then once Louis gets through the crowd, we see a red Corvette that looks just like his, and everyone's like, oh, wow, this is crazy. You got all the original parts, it's the same paint, everything. You guys are crazy. You guys did this for me? He gets in the red Corvette and drives away, and everyone's cheering him on as he goes away. And then this big giant guy comes out of the building yelling at Marlon, and he's like, Marlon, who the hell just stole my car? And they just keep pointing that in a certain direction, and then the outro credits start to roll, and that's the end of the movie. And I gotta say, this movie's a lot of fun. I love I love Joe Pesci in movies, to be honest with you. I think he's a great actor, and I don't know if there's a Joe Pesci movie that I actually don't like. This one's a lot of fun though, and I highly recommend you guys check it out. It's got some good comedy aspects to it. You know, it's got a lot of swearing in it because it's Joe Pesci, but that's besides the point, so hopefully you don't mind that part. But I enjoy this movie a lot, and on the Rotten scale, out of 10, I'm going to give it a solid 8, just because I enjoy it a lot. Like I said, I just watched it a couple months ago, and I enjoyed it just as much this time around as well. Alright, so next week we have a fun one. I haven't watched this one in a long time. Last time I watched this was on cable TV or satellite TV, 1, 2. I think it was on the Space Channel. This movie is from 1977. It's a comedy horror movie. It has an hour and 24-minute runtime. It's Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and if you guys want to watch this one, you can go check out for free on Tubi. So if you want to watch it beforehand, go check it out there. If not, just wait till next week to listen to me talk about the movie, and I'll either make you want to watch the movie or you'll just be fine avoiding it. So I'm sure a lot of people have already seen this one though, but it's been a while since I revisited it, so I want to watch it just for the sake of watching it. So with that being said, make sure to check out the outro band, Toronto-based horror band Blood Opera. You can find all of their links down below, of course, but the main thing you can follow them on is Spotify or Amazon Music,
wherever you listen to your music. Go follow them there, like their music, share their music, all that fun stuff. And as always, check out all my social media links down below as well. At Typenstein, you can find us on anything and everything from Instagram, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Blue Sky. But the main thing you should check out is the YouTube channel. We got the weekly game video dropping every single Wednesday over there. We have old episodes of the podcast, various short videos, and the occasional video game stream and live art streams. So definitely go check it out. Once we hit 1,000 subs over there, we're going to be giving away some free artwork, so definitely go check that out as well. Share the YouTube channel, make sure to like it, subscribe to it, all that other fun stuff. And also check out the Twitch channel. Subscribe to the Twitch channel, that way you can see when I go live each and every single time. We'll have different gaming stream from GTA Online to Fortnite to Killing Floor 2 to some WWE 2K25 to maybe even Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We'll see. It's been a while since I played that game, so I'm a little bit rusty on that one. But make sure to go check out all the channels, and I'll talk to you guys all later. Peace!